obviously living in a very difficult period and in a very tough world. We have been facing in the recent years multiple crises. Just to mention a few, I'm a European. I've been a commissioner for the EU for Economic and Financial Affairs, the Greek crisis, which created a major disequilibrium, not only in Europe, but also in the world. The financial crisis, of course, which lasted from 2008 to 2014. Then, now, the COVID-19 pandemics with its huge and major and tough consequences, as well sanitary, economic, social, and democratic. These are the dimensions of this crisis. And due to this very spectacular context, obviously people feel that from the public authorities, from the politicians, there is a lack of results. And all over the place, we can see unemployment, we can see growing inequalities, and we can see, that's one of the purposes of your conference, a major distrust. I'm not going to expand in the very few minutes about this theme, but just to mention two points on which distrust is really very important. The first one is distrust in globalization and multilateralism. We have seen in the recent years the beginning of a kind of a trade war, or at least a toughening in trade relationship, not only between the US and China, but all over the place. We can see that all the global institutions are being questioned right now. It is the case for climate, with the withdrawal of the Trump administration from the Paris agreements. It's a case with WTO. It's the case with WHO. And I've been participating as finance minister and commissioner to G7 and G20 works. We can see that I wouldn't call that a decline, but we've got a difficulty from these institutions to be really efficient in the period. So globalization on the one hand, multilateralism on the other hand, feel a great distrust and some weakening, of course. And the second area which I would like to pinpoint is democracy and institutions. We've seen in the recent years a rise of populism, of nationalism, as if getting back to nation was the answer to the crises in the world. We see also the rise of authoritarian governments and sometimes regimes, and kind of temptation to go to what Prime Minister Orban of Hungary calls illiberal democracy, which means nothing, because democracy has to be liberal or else it's not a democracy. Saying that, you might think that I'm talking about an era of doom and gloom. It's clear that we can see around us fear for health, fear for unemployment, fear for inequalities, that we can see the borders closed. They are closed physically, and I'm talking to you through a video conference. We can see also some lack of coordination in the answers, for example, to the pandemics today. And anxiety is everywhere in our societies, and a lot of people feel threatened or even depressed and even threatened. Is that the sign that we must renounce to hope? No, there are signs of hope. And there are signs that we can rebuild trust. It is a case when we see the way we face the crisis, and we can see obviously that political will and also the capacity to use room of maneuver in public action is there clearly something absolutely determining. I'm a European, so I will insist maybe on Europe. You may have seen that the European answer to COVID-19 was as well monetary policy, which was adapted. The famous whatever it takes by Mario Draghi is now continued by Christine Lagarde, and a lot of debt is now taken on board by the ECB, as much, I think, as possible. The interest rates are so low that they are negative in Europe. But for the first time, we've seen a fiscal response to a crisis, and this is certainly a breakthrough. The Europeans reacted with solidarity for those countries which had been hit the most by the first wave of the COVID, especially Italy, which was in a quite bad shape as well on the sanitary issues, but also the economic issues. And also for the first time, there was a recovery plan which gave not only loans, but also grants. And this is for our German friends, for example, something absolutely new. And so when you consider this answer, you can say that it is more about Keynes than about laissez-faire. The deal is not already fixed. There are discussions in the Council of Ministers, also with the Parliament, but I'm hopeful and confident that it will be done. We can also see that there is a consequence of this attitude, which is a massive raise in public debt. And this is a point on which I would like to insist. Public debt can be partially mutualized. That's what the recovery plan is about. Public debt can be partially monetized. That's what the ECB action is about. Public debt can be partially cancelled, but in the end, a public debt has to be reimbursed. That's why, and this is one of the missions of the institution that now chair in France, the Cour des Comptes, the Court of Auditors, the equivalent of the General Accounting Office, for example, in the US, National Audit Office in the UK. The debt needs to be reimbursed, so we need to get back progressively to some sound fiscal policies and to find a trajectory which is compatible with growth, with fighting social inequalities, with fighting the COVID, with re-establishing capacities on health systems, but which is also reasonable. And the last factor of hope, and the second factor of hope that I would like to mention, which can also rebuild trust, is of course the consequences of the US election. Let's be clear. I'm not saying that we are now getting out of the dark to see the light. We must not be in a caricature towards Donald Trump. There were a lot of bad things, but some good things. And we must not be naive in our hopes towards Joe Biden. But obviously, this is a game changer. This can be a game changer if the actors play their game and if they have the capacity, especially, to get back to a kind of bipartisan work between the Democrats and the Republicans, especially in the Senate. Why a game changer? It can be a game changer in multilateralism. I think our American friends will consider that they have now in the world, especially in Europe, partners, friends, allies, not enemies. Sometimes Donald Trump seemed to consider us, the Europeans. It's also a game changer when you look at environment. I'm very, very happy that the United States are going, and this will be done the first day of Joe Biden's presidency, to reintegrate the Paris Agreement and to fight climate change. And it can be a game changer. It will be a game changer for democracy. We are going to breathe differently, not only in the United States, but also in the world. And I'm sure it won't be easy. The discussions between China and the US will be tough. We cannot hope to get back to a kind of golden age. That's not what I'm saying, but we will discuss again in G7, in G20 forums, in WTO, in WHO, with the idea to reform those institutions, not to destroy them and not to be in conflict between us. I think that a lot can be expected from this administration, that we can have now a good relationship with a man of experience. I met Joe Biden, and he certainly has a lot of experience, somebody who knows the world, somebody who is attached reunify his country and to put the Americans all together after years, as he said, of division and demonetization. And so that will be my final word. We must not lose faith and hope. We must continue to look for ways to build a better world and to rebuild trust. That's what events like the Paris conference are about, and that's why I've been happy to address you these few words about the way we can rebuild trust together.